Whatever that might mean. All right, guys. Hey, it is my honor, and I'm really thrilled to say, joining us now, Brenda Buttner, host of Fox News Channel's Bulls and Bears, and my man Tom Sullivan, host of the Tom Sullivan Show. All right, Brenda, where does this leave empty nesters? I mean, before you raise your kids, they go off to college, and you go have fun.
Yeah, forget the golden years. These will be the aluminum years. I mean, this is really tough. You've heard of the nanny state. I call this the mommy-daddy welfare state, and it is just as crippling to recipients as when the government hands out freebies. I know it's tough for millennials, but I'm telling you, my kids, if they come back after college, they're going to get a job, and maybe not one that's worthy of their history degree. They're going to work at A&P or whatever. You've got to start giving something to your parents and giving up some things like vacations and all that in order to give your parents a break. Grow up.
I know you're a firm mom when I've seen you with your daughters, but you might get a little, they might tell you a sob story, no?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, right now, my 16-year-old can't wait to get out of the house, but, when she has to do her laundry, who knows?
Tom, you've got 3 kids. He's just smiling.
2 are off the payroll. 1 is definitely still on the payroll. Listen, this is not about good money management. It's not about how to handle your money, because this is simply an emotional argument. And the sad part about it is, especially after being in the investment business for many years, I saw families where, for some reason, one child, and I don't want to call them the runt of the litter, but it was somebody that just needed a little extra help, a brother or sister, somebody who wasn't doing as well, and the parent would give them all the money. Well, I'll tell you something. It really, really put a knife in the back of the other kids. Like, so you're the favorite child.
Right.
And it was sad, but it's an emotional baggage. It's not a money issue.
Yeah.
It's just emotional baggage why that happens. My favorite story about this, real quickly, Newt Gingrich was speaker at the time, and he was giving a speech about the fact that, well, if you're really a fiscal conservative, then don't rely upon the government to take care of your parents. You take care of your parents. So I did this on my radio show. I have never been so shocked with the calls saying, yeah, well, my mother was mean to me, and my father would spank me, and then, they can stuff it. They can do whatever they want to do.
Well, I collect watches, and my son made it clear as soon as he gets a chance, he's selling all of them. So, I do.
He's a smart investor, Charlie.
Yeah, he may hold on to them. But I do understand what you're saying. There was a group, a family in my neighborhood we grew up, and they had a fair amount of money. Their grandfather owned all the buildings and everything. He gave all the money to one kid, and he blew it in less than 2 years. Blew all of it in less than 2 years. Dominick, 7 kids.
7 kids of my own, and as a practitioner of financial planning practice, this is a real problem, Charles. I mean, literally on a daily basis, we're getting a call from one of our clients, and these are very fiscally responsible people going, oh, I need an extra $5,000, an extra $10,000, an extra $50,000. 9 times out of 10, Charles, it's funding something for their children. Maybe it's a home purchase, maybe it's a car purchase, maybe it's helping them pay the auto insurance, but they're committing, and I've coined this phrase, fiscal suicide. That's what I said to them. So you're going to choose committing fiscal suicide to help your child.
But as a financial planner, do you weigh at least listen, it's one thing, the kid needs 50 grand to go down the Amazon for a year, or 50 grand to start a business. I mean, is there at least something, or is it all fiscal suicide?
I look to use every tool in my quiver to try to get them not to commit fiscal suicide, and most do not. They just tend to give away a little bit too much, but some of them literally completely deplete their savings. And I'm like, what are you going to do when the money's gone? I'll figure it out then. Well, why don't we figure it out now? They commit fiscal suicide.
Listen, parenting today is very tough. I have 2 young ones, and we're sitting here, and I think, and before parents could say, you know what, explore, make your decision down the road. You'll be fine in college. Go in as undeclared. It's a different job market right now. So we're already having to start our kids down a trail of saying, okay, do you want to go into business? Do you have an engineering mind? That's at a young age. We're already trying to cultivating and try to encourage them to go that way. Unfortunately, today, parenting is a little bit, we learn by examples, and sometimes parents today are not setting the best examples and showing their kids that it is a struggle, that we got this house because we struggled. We need to show that.
But it is tough, though, right, Brenda? Because this is the boomerang generation. They come back home. They've been coming back home. We had the Great Recession, and it's hard to say no.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, they come back home for a reason. It is hard to find a job. But really, I think that you have to do something. You can get a job anywhere. Work at Wendy's if you have to. But this is about self-esteem, too. You're not going to have self-esteem. You're not going to be able to make it when you're 50 or so if your parents are taking care of you while you're 29.
Although if it's a societal norm, then that sort of stigma is not there. It's almost like food stamps, right? Before, when I was growing up, there was a stigma. Now it's a right, or, you know, you're actually being encouraged to do this. So if society doesn't frown upon it, it makes it that much easier.
I think there still is that scarlet letter, though, about living in mom's basement.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's said with a little bit of snide to it about,
I don't know. I know adult men who have no problem, 29 years old, taking their date to mom's basement.
And mom's basement is awesome these days, you know?
It's
all right, guys.
Yeah.
Well, this is the